Hey, what's up everyone? So one of the things that I really enjoy doing is long exposure photography, especially during the day when it's very sunny out, because you can get really special effects with filters. One of the biggest filters that you need is your ND filter, which is a neutral density. And if you're out when it's really high noon, really bright out, you're looking at like ND10s and extreme and everything like that, so you can really stop down the light to get a better shutter speed, lower ISO, the look that you want, so that way you can get the effect that you want. And interestingly enough, PolarPro reached out to me and they sent over these two bad boys right here and a step-up ring in case I needed it. And they said, hey, we have new filters coming out and we're interested to see what you could do with them, give us your thoughts on everything. And really, I just want to go into New York, test these bad boys out to see what they could do. But they did not pay for this in any way. They did not sponsor. They just sent this over for review. And I'm just going to give my honest thoughts and show you in real world situations how these look and how these perform. And one of the biggest things with the ND filters is that a lot of the cheap ones, and most of them for that matter, have a really horrible color cast. You either get this like magenta-y or very green look, and that's why you see a lot of them in black and white. I mean, I have a very cheap ND10 filter, and it's very hard to use color with it at all because it's so bad. So this is their cinema line, their new QuartzLine, like brass ringed filters that are coming out or that are just out. And I'm gonna go test these bad boys out, and I'm very interested to see what they do and how they handle real world stuff, because if this can hold color very well, I will be super happy with everything going forward. But let's take them out a little bit, learn a little bit, and then hit the streets. So I was interested to see how these are as well, because there's a lot of little features and stuff that they added on, and they're not just some cheap filters. And PolarPro is actually known very well, especially for the filters that you can put on your DJI, drone products and everything. That way you can stop down the light to get the look that you want. But some of the features that they have is that there's a fused quartz glass element, a rugged brass frame, like I mentioned, so should be very, very durable compared to some cheaper things. Perfect color neutrality. Once again, that's the huge thing I'm very interested in. And there's basically like 16 coating layers that really help get the look that you want. Like I said, I'll show you some video options as well, because they are the cinema series in it. But I'll also show you what I really like to do with them as well, and give you my first hands-on with that. But let's look at these. So in opening it up and taking it out of the box, you get a nice actual case to hold them in, so that's really cool. And then you actually get a very good hard case. This is the ND10 filter, the ND1000, 82 millimeters. Here is the ND1000. So it's really cool because this thing has, wow, a lot of weight to it, which is very awesome. It really doesn't feel cheap. Here's the brass on the other side. I'll show in some close-ups. But I mean, you're not getting much out of this. Like I put this on here, look, I'm covered when it looks like this. That's what an ND does, is it really blocks in the amount of light coming in. So once again, the same settings, nothing changes, and you go to something like this. The other cool thing that was sent over, so this is the ND that was a, what is this one? An ND16, which is way less test compared to this, and a polarizer. So I'm just curious to see what this looks like. And what's also cool is that these are labeled as well with what they are. So you see it says ND16PL, and I open it up. Let's take it out. Once again, similar build quality. Once again, this is a polarizer, so it's a little bit more. Because as a polarizer, I'll show you in a second too, you spin it around to get the effect, the look that you want and the intensity. So if I screw this on, you're going to see what it is. But once again, same brass outside. And it has this this brownish tint to it. So I'm wondering how that's going to react with sunlight and everything like that. But let me put this on. This is the ND16, so it's going to cut down a little bit. So you can see the intensity, but the other end is the polarization, which obviously you could cut down on reflections, and I'll show that in this as well. But that's what these are. That's what these look like. Let's go hit the streets and see what these really can do. So I'm in Central Park in New York City. I got the camera out right here, testing out the PolarPro filters, mainly doing the ND long exposure stuff in here. There's two locations. You'll recognize like the main strip that I'm in, or I'm gonna be just past it. The activity isn't heavy as here as it is, so I'm gonna jump over there. But I was doing some test stuff, and I kind of tell you the settings that I'm getting, which that's a huge reason why you're able to do stuff like this with polarizers. And then I'm gonna actually go to the fountain where there should be a lot of people, and maybe I could check out the polarization filter as well. So essentially for this stuff, I'm getting about between F10 and F14, depending on the light. As you see, it's kind of dappled over there. ISO is as low as I can go on the 5D Mark IV. I think I'm at about 250 or 200 or whatever. And then in the bulb mode, I'm open between 45 seconds to about a minute and a half, depending on the effect that I want. The longer you have it open, obviously the more sensitive it is to light, but it's also, you're able to create more of an effect. If you have it a little less, you see a little bit more of the people, but if you want that ghostly, almost non-existent effect, the longer you have it open, the better. So there wasn't a lot of happening where I thought there was normally going to be, but we're at the main fountain in Central Park over here, and I'm going to show you essentially what it looks like without everything. I'll do a quick video so you can see the amount of people, and then I'll show you the pictures and stuff after with using the ND filter and the long exposure, and see how the color is on that. So let's look at that. Location number 2. Settings are pretty much the same as before. They'll be on screen, but let's look. The question I get is, why do I use a remote shutter release? And because I know you could use self-timer on the camera, but I really like the fact that you have control over how long the exposure is too, because a lot of these triggers you just press and that's it. But some of these you could press and actually lock up. I just feel like you have a little bit more control and eliminates the chance for camera shake when this stuff is crucial. I went to a few locations so far. I'm still going to mess around with it, but the Central Park thing is what I really wanted to go. That was my main goal coming over, and it's perfect that I had something to test as well. So far, at least on the back of the camera screen, the color actually looks very, very good. I'm going to leave these pretty much unedited just to show you some of the color stuff from here, and it's exactly what you've seen in this vlog, in some of this camera footage. I mean, it gets very busy, and I'm just really going for like the ghostly or almost non-existent look, because New York City is very busy, and I see it kind of like empty-ish. Is rather interesting. I got the ND16 / polarizer right here. I'm going to throw this on the camera, and I'll show you in some video just cutting down some light and the reflection, and that way you can just see how it is. I'll show you in a quick video, and then we'll be back to the studio. So we're back now, we're off the streets, and I really went to a couple locations because, and the sun maybe wasn't as bright as I wanted to per se, but these filters are the real deal, no doubt. Once again, I wasn't paid to say that at all. If I didn't like them, I would simply say that, and I would let the company know that as well, and say, hey, this isn't for me, the whole color thing isn't the thing. But you really do get a good cut, you really do get great color quality compared to the cheaper lenses. And in looking at the photos, it does exactly what I want. And once again, having the option to keep them in color and everything is amazing. And that's all you want from these. Now, once you buy these, you are buying quality, so they're not going to be like super cheap. The ND1000 or ND10 is roughly about $240 US. So you got to keep that in mind. But once again, PolarPro does have great support. I've used their stuff on my drones in the past when I have them, and they've helped me out. They didn't know that, and I'm saying that now. But once again, the price also comes down to the amount you want to use, the millimeter, and how much more or less it is. Like if you have a 77 millimeter version, it's roughly like $10 or $15 cheaper. Like once again, now if I had my ND16 and that PL that's there, the 82 millimeter version is roughly $250, whereas the 77 millimeter is $240. So it's just a little bit up or down. They're very well protected once you get them, and I was talking about their warranties and everything. It's a lifetime warranty as well. So you're paying for quality, and you're paying for something that if something goes wrong, you know you're going to be covered down the line. This is targeted towards the professional market, in my opinion. Once again, the cinema line, they're targeting the whole quartz. The whole quartz thing is to like higher resolution. They're targeting, up to 100 megapixel sensors and everything. So you're getting a lot with this. And once again, I think the color is amazing. If you're looking at the cinema thing as well, that's a big deal. If you want to have an ND filter in general, but to really get a good color cast as well, and to not have it be horrible or swayed in one direction, I think that's a big deal and very worth looking into. These PolarPro filters and everything, highly recommend, look into. Check the link down below. I'll link to the Quartz series, and if you have any questions or comment about these, please leave those down below as well. But 2 big thumbs up, and hope you enjoyed the video, and hopefully this is maybe a different option if you're looking for something that's a bit more quality. But these lenses right here from these filters from PolarPro, 2 thumbs up. Pretty cool.